We have now rebranded. It's no longer the CHGO White Sox post-game show. It is the CHGO Colson Montgomery post-game show here right now. Hey, welcome into the CHGO Colson Montgomery post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, coming to you live from my home, a very, very rainy Avondale. If you hear thunder, if you see lightning, it's because it's thundering and lightning out. The White Sox lost 2-1. And there was a 63-minute rain delay to delay about 10 pitches. And honestly, it was fair for no reason. The heavens opened up. Brandon Eisert was drenched, could not hold on to a ball. It was 2-2 in the top of the ninth with runners on first and second, and they delayed the game. And somehow, some way, Roger Bossard and his crew got the tarp on the field, and they were able to get this game in before it just reopened again. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, my producer, Sarah, who will not say hello, but usually says hello. She's very genial, I think is the right word. Congenial. Anyways, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you do have a comment, let us know. I'll be reading the chat as this post-game show goes on. We'll be talking about Colson Montgomery hitting another home run. It's insane. We'll talk about the history that he's in with the MLB players in 2025. We'll talk about the White Sox history that he's in. We'll talk about the White Sox lack of wins against the AL Central, not only this year, but last year, comparing how they've done so far against the Central. Another loss today. They're now 2-6 against Detroit on the year. And then finally, we'll talk about, we should probably start here. We'll talk about the tarp because something that I noticed when the Detroit broadcast pointed it out was the tarp was on backwards. And Sarah, if you want to flash that graphic, you could see that's just a white tarp. And there's another picture where they're pulling it back. And I think that there was a lot of water accumulating on the tarp. So they're trying to dump the tarp. But you could see that it's just the old Xfinity tarp from last year. So, when people are upset you're not spending money on the on-field product, they're not talking about the tarp that covers the field. And I guess that's not really a complaint of mine because I wouldn't know any different. But there is an Xfinity ad under there. And, what large service in Chicago were they not on for several months this year as they started their brand new venture of CHSN? A little sloppy there, the White Sox showing that they still have pictures of their ex hidden somewhere, I guess just under the tarp, because the Xfinity logo is just on the other side, my friends. But anyways, Sox do lose today. Let's get into the game today. It was going to be a game that was going to be tough to win from the get. Tomorrow's going to be a tough game for them to win because they don't even have a starter technically. I haven't seen any news on who will start for them. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mike Vassell, but Elvis Peguero made his White Sox debut, I believe. He threw 29 pitches, struck out the side to start the first inning, but as he is mainly a one-inning guy, ran into issues in the second inning. Tyler Alexander then relieved him and threw the bulk of the game today. 65 pitches for Alexander, no earned runs, and 4 1/3 innings pitched against his former team. So good revenge game there from Tyler Alexander. Steven Wilson came in, 1 inning, 2 Ks, really nasty changeup that was, I think, grabbed by Sox Optimus. Really disgusting a pitch there by Steven Wilson. Grant Taylor came in, threw 8 pitches and 7 strikes like he always does. 1 hit allowed, 1 K. And honestly, the hit's annoying because he throws 2 breaking balls to Baez. We'll get a little bit more into the game in a second. but Taylor throws 2 breaking balls to Baez. One's a ball that's completely out of the zone. The other one's a ball that's completely out of the zone, but like Javi Baez, he swings and misses. So what does Grant Taylor do? He throws him a 98-mile-per-hour fastball right down the pipe. Like, Grant, read the scouting report. The whole thing is the guy can't hit breaking balls. Just throw him the other side of the batter's box. He'll swing. Then Eisert came in, and he gave up a game-winning home run to Spencer Torkelson that hit. It was just fair. Hit off the foul pole, clanged off the foul pole, made it a 2-1 win for the Tigers. Sox were unable to get to the Tigers bullpen. Holton, Finnegan, and Vest combined for 3 1/3 of scoreless ball game or scoreless pitching. Paddock allowed the home run, the only earned run, the home run to Colson Montgomery, 3 hits, 1 walk. Sox were unable to get to the former Twin and now Tiger that they picked up at the deadline in Chris Paddock. The guy that was able to get to him, though, Sox fall the Tigers despite Colson's 10th home run. This has been absolutely absurd. Ryan says, we expecting Colson to hit a home run in his next game. Again, I doubted him in opening day. I was a little surprised that they called him up on the 4th. I thought that they could have called him up in like the middle of June, but I was still surprised that they would have waited till the post All-Star break. But they called him up against Colorado, and he got his feet wet before the All-Star break, and ever since then, kid has not come back down to earth. 10 games or 18 games since the All-Star break, 10 home runs. Absolutely absurd. Tomorrow they'll face Jack Flaherty. Flaherty's a righty. I could see Colson Montgomery hitting another home run. I wouldn't put it past him. Shy Sox Anthony says the Colson bombs are seriously impressive. The Seager comp is looking good at this point. Fingers crossed. There's one major part where Colson Montgomery is not Corey Seager, and that is at pitch selectiveness. I was looking at not the Bobby Orr, the Hockey Hall of Famer, but Robert Orr of Baseball Prospectus, who had put together the Seager stat of, is a guy going to swing at pitches inside the zone and not swing at pitches outside the zone? And then you minus that number and you get the Seager number. And typically throughout his career, Corey Seager has led Major League Baseball not swinging at pitches outside the zone and swinging at pitches inside the zone. Colson doesn't have that selectivity so far. But what he does have is raw, disgusting power. Let's put him first in White Sox history. 10 homers in the past 18 games. He joins Luis Robert Jr., who accomplished that feat from June to July of 2023. He joins Jose Abreu, who did it from August of 2020. He joins Avi Garcia, who did it in June and July of 2018. Paul Konerko did it from May to June of 2011. Carlos Quinton did it from, I don't know what the 6th month is, May to June. June to July of 2010. Jim Thome did it from September in 2017 and even all the way to April of next year. But he did have a run from 09-09 2007 to 09-30 with 18 games and 10 home runs. El Caballo from July 2004 to the end of July of 2004 had 10 homers in 18 games. Frank Thomas did it in August of 03, bled into a little bit of September of 03 there. Paulie did it again in May 2002, a little bit into July of 2002. Frank did it again in the 2000s of June into July of 2000. Albert Bell, again, I wasn't really around for Albert Bell. I was born in 1997, so I wasn't even a year when Albert Bell, from the 24th of June to the 1st of August, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stretches. 16, 18 game stretches where he had 10 or more home runs. So an absolutely insane run there by Albert Bell. Frank Thomas also did it in 1996. That looks like September of 1996. Robin did it from August to September of 1995. Frank did it again in May to June of 1994. And then the first person to ever do it, and there's a 23-year gap there. Bill Melton, the home run king. And that is one of my favorite things that I've seen at Sox Park is where the scout seats are. They have stuff behind nice glasses, Sox memorabilia, and they have the Melton home run crown. And he did that from, June to July of 1971. So some absolute crazy history that Colson Montgomery has joined in White Sox history. Those are the best sluggers in White Sox history. Frank's done it 4 times, Paulie twice, Jim Thome, Carlos Quinton, Jose Abreu, Luis Robert Jr. I mean, the worst player on that list is Avi Garcia, maybe Bill Melton, and I think both of them were all-stars. Worst case scenario, Colson Montgomery, if he follows the suit of these players, he's at worst a one-time all-star or home run champion. It's been utterly not only impressive, but it's just been so magnetic. White Sox fans are so excited, and I haven't seen this excitement since 2021. And I understand that 2022, like, they were still an okay team with high expectations, but we weren't really able to enjoy that year. That year ends up with, so much turmoil back and forth. By August, Tony's dealing with health issues, and then I think by the end of August, he's gone. And then the next year, Pedro comes in. We're a little excited for Pedro, but obviously the results were the results. And by the end of that April, it was the worst baseball you'll see for the next year and a half. This is a really great moment. And I think it's just so exciting that White Sox fans haven't had to have a come down yet. Obviously, it's like, when's the next time he won't hit a homer? But I'm excited to just see him prove me wrong. I was kind of looking at that at bat, like the first pitch he takes, and I think it was a fastball that he whiffed at, and I'm like, oh, this is just not going to go well. And then Paddock just throws him a meatball right down the middle, and he hit it. And that's the biggest thing that sticks out. Sarah's flashing this on the screen. 18 players have 10 home runs with a bat speed over 78 miles per hour. Only one has played 32 games. That's Colson Montgomery. The only other player currently with less than 1,000 pitches seen and 10 plus home runs with a bat speed over 78 miles per hour is Giancarlo Stanton. Colson hasn't even seen 500 pitches. And he's doing something that Giancarlo Stanton, the fastest bat swinger ever, and it's not even close, is doing. This power, it does feel Galilean, not Galilean, but Joey Galilean. It feels like it's not harnessed yet. And I think the one hope or the one thing that you want to see with Colson is he's obviously been able to make good enough contact because he has 10 freaking home runs in 13 games, 10 in the past 18. But you do want to see him make some normal contact because it's really hit or miss to the point where it's Galilean. For him to be a superstar, we need to see some of that contact. Because, to be honest, you could be Galilean if you're playing a shortstop position. If you're able to be an above-average shortstop, that's kind of the one thing that Joey Gallo couldn't figure out at the end of his career. Was in the beginning of his career, he was a pretty good defender in right and left with a pretty good arm and could hit 30 homers. So he'd be able to kind of negate it in the wash. If Colson's hitting 30 homers and playing above-average defense at shortstop, what up? It gives you that cushion. Even if he moves over to third base, that cushion lessens. There's less of a place for him to fall. If he's able to somehow keep up this power, not gain any contact, but stick at shortstop, this is sustainable. If he wants to move positions, we'll need to see the contact. We'll need to see the walk rate climb. But I don't need to be a dork. He's got 10 homers in 18 games. That's all we need to talk about. What color Colson Montgomery jersey are you getting? We tried to decide it yesterday. 27% of the people said alternate black. 27% of the people said the City Connect 2.0. We took it to the Discord. I think it was 67% to 33% voted for the alternate black. So maybe, just maybe, you'll soon see me in a Colson Montgomery alternate black jersey. Fingers crossed. We have to take a break here on the CHGO Colson Montgomery post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Like Ryan saying, smash that like button if it were Colson smashing a baseball. We got to let you know about our great friends over at, sorry, my ads aren't pulling up. We have to let you know about our great friends over at Bet365. Tonight was not a night that you could have taken advantage of the early win bet promo because no team scored 5 runs. If a team does take over, we're not, is this? Yeah, Bet365. Sorry, I'm opening the wrong day. If a team takes a 5-run or more lead, you get an early cash out. Sarah, mine says Empire. Do we have to redo this? We got to talk about Empire. Our friends over at Empire today. They have flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire can help you get it. We've all been to those big box stores. They might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring may have been doing sinks yesterday. They may have been in the self checkout line the day before, and they could be in the White Sox bullpen tomorrow. Brandon Eisert's been iffy. With Empire, you get clear, professional, and an upfront all-inclusive pricing package. And you could schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are better at home. You could see the samples with your furniture in your house, with your lighting, with the experts over at Empire. And since you're a CHGO listener, you can receive a $350 off promo code with promo code CHGO. That's a $350 off discount with promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. 588-2300 Empire today. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time. The best way to get into a White Sox game is Game Time. And tomorrow is a little bit iffy because it might just open up from the heavens as well. I know our guy Sam is looking to go to the White Sox game, and I told him to use Game Time. And him and his buddy, I think it's Troy, can just wait until the last second, 6:40, decide if they want to go. They could take the train, don't even worry about tickets until they're walking from 35th over to the gates, and you buy their tickets on Game Time. Game Time, again, your purchase is covered with the most flexible coverage, service policy, and ticket history. And again, the closer you get to Game Time, the lower the prices get. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the CHGO Colson Montgomery post-game show. Don Burr says Detroit versus everybody. Congratulations, Don. You beat the White Sox. The Detroit Tigers in the past 2 years against the White Sox, they were 3-10 in 2024, and now they're 2-6 against Detroit. So what? That's a 5-16 record. Yeah, you're really stuck it to the White Sox, Don, just like you have 16 other times. All right. Anyways, back to the Colson discussion. Let's get into some of those numbers about bat speed, just because I do find it interesting and the names that he's with. When you look at those 18 players, he is the 18th player to have 10 homers with a bat speed over 78 miles per hour. Every single bat speed or every single homer has been not only above a fast bat speed, which is 75 miles per hour, but like 3 miles above it. Colson swings an extremely fast bat. And one thing that does slow down, except if you're Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, is bat speed over time. And it kind of degrades quickly. So this is one thing that might not last a long time for Colson Montgomery, which is why he needs to hone in on that contact skill. But right now, he's an incredible company. Gunnar Henderson has 10 homers over with a 78 mile per hour post bat speed. Giancarlo Stanton, Kyle Stowers, Pete Alonso, Wilson Contreras, Julio Rodriguez, O'Neal Cruz, Riley Green, Vladimir Guerrero, James Wood, Nick Kurtz, Joe Adell, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and then these three have 20 or more. So all those other guys have from 10 to 17. Ohtani has 17. Colson has 10. It's absurd that he's even like kind of competing with Vlad Guerrero, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Cal Raleigh has 20. He's 45 homers on the year. Junior Caminero has 24. And then Kyle Schwarber has 26. And again, the only other player that has seen less than 1,000 pitches this year and has those 10 homers with a bat speed over 78 miles per hour is Giancarlo Stanton. If you're trying to comp him to a player, it's definitely not Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton is just the most muscular person that you'll ever see on a baseball field. Looks cartoonish in a way. Colson is such a stick figure that it's so surprising that he can generate this much power. And I guess it's also not surprising that if he was trying to generate this power with how thin he was, that he ended up running into back issues. It seems like he's in a very confident state, and it seems like he's in a very healthy state. Something that also stuck out was a beautiful play that him and Lenyn Sosa turned. A great double play. I want to refresh which inning it was. I think it was the seventh, sixth. Okay. Maybe the eighth. Oh, it was the eighth. It was with Grant Taylor pitching, and there was the Baez after the Baez single. Torres grounded into a double play. Sosa, I believe, ranged to his left, so towards first base, had to pivot, turn, and Colson made a wonderful, athletic, quick tag of the base, jump throw, lightning bolt over to get Torres. It's been very, very not only fun to watch Colson Montgomery, but it sparks like what you like about baseball or what you liked about baseball when you were a kid, right? Like, I doubted him. I did not think that he could do anything that, like, I put him into Jose Abreu, Luis Robert Jr., Frank Thomas, Paul Konerko, Albert Bell. Do we have the other stat too, Sarah, from the FanDuel Sports, the screenshot one? He is, I think, the first player. Yeah, I mean, he has the most homers in the first 32 career games in White Sox history, or second most. He tied Zeke Bonora with 10 in the first 32 career games. The only person that has more is Jose Abreu with 12. So, like, I didn't think that he would be popping onto a graphic with Jose Abreu and Zeke Bonora. And I was watching the FanDuel Detroit broadcast to listen to Jason Benetti. And Benetti, of course, got to bring up his guy, Zeke Bonora. And what did Zeke stand for? His name wasn't like, Ezekiel. No, he was just jacked. And they called him Physique. And then Zeke for short. Like, Colson doesn't give physique. Colson doesn't give 27-year-old Jose Abreu, fresh off the boat from Cuba, winning Rookie of the Year, right? Like, he wasn't a man. He's still not a man. He's 23 and still doing this. I don't know what his future holds. I have no idea how to accurately predict what his career will look like, because the Corey Seager stuff doesn't sound nonsensical right now. You also have Ryan bringing up, maybe he's a little bit more Kyle than Corey. Possible. But like, if he's able to stick it short, like, the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he's just incredibly impressive. We do have some comments from Minidar that I want to get to. Venable can't have one of the top 5 bat speed hitters and hottest home run players currently batting after Benintendi and Robert. The other top bat speed hitters bat second. He needs more at bats. Colson should have walked the first at bat. Ump had a horrible call. I know the ump had a really tough night in general. So don't blame him too much. And that's, again, something that I think the White Sox can relate to Colson. They can go back on the tape and say, hey, that was a ball. Keep doing what you're doing. Put your head down and work, right? Hopefully this is building to Colson, building up a Rolodex in his head, understanding what pitchers are trying to do. And hopefully we are seeing a very young, immature 23-year-old developing, and we'll see a more refined plate approach coming through as he grows. I mean, we see it, I'm not joking, with Lenyn Sosa. I think Lenyn Sosa over the past month has been a 118 weighted runs created plus hitter. His walk rate in that month is like a 6%, which is like a 4% increase for Lenyn Sosa. If you're looking for a way for Lenyn Sosa to be viable, 6% walk rate's a good place to start. But yeah, I am excited for Colson Montgomery, and you should be too. Minidar also jumping in saying he had that interview with Brooke Fletcher, where he was appreciative of MLB perks, post-game spread, and a fan of the Sox United charter, the same charter in the article that other players ridiculed. Yeah, I mean, just to bring that up, like, who do you think's complaining about the charter? It's probably Lance Lynn. It's probably Joe Kelly. It's probably Yasmani Grandal, right? It's probably people that have been around the block. I mean, Grandal was on the Dodgers flight. That's probably not too bad. Lynn was probably on the Cardinals, and am I misremembering that he had Boston stint? But definitely on the Cardinals. And then Joe Kelly was on the Dodgers and Red Sox. So like they probably don't stack up to the White Sox, but when you're bussing it from Birmingham and all around Mississippi and Alabama, then you're doing the same thing in Charlotte and going all around the Carolinas. Any flight's better than a bus. So, I think that he's enjoying life up here. And I think that this is something that he's worked for his entire life. And I think the fact that he feels confident enough to trust the White Sox to help him succeed, the torpedo bat being a main instance here, the Arizona trip earlier in the year being another instance. I mean, they had enough confidence in him to make him the opening day starter. He just wasn't healthy enough. So I think that he has trust in this organization. It's mainly, at the end of the day, him just going out and playing. And it seems like he's in a really healthy headspace. And, go out and hit another homer against Jack Flaherty. I won't be mad. So if you have any more thoughts about Colson Montgomery, let me know, and I'll read them as we progress on through this show. Final thing that I did want to bring up is just the thing that he needs to do better is making contact. When you look at rookies with at least, I think, 50 plate appearances, his zone contact rate is comparable to Kyle Teal at like 82.9%. But then when you look at his contact rate among rookies, it is 64th out of 71, where, just for example, like Tim Elko, who doesn't even have that good of a contact rate, he's above Colson Montgomery, 70.5% contact rate for Elko, Colson 67.9%. So again, that's why I threw out the Gallo and the Elko thing, because the power is undeniable. It's just more, how sustainable is it? I mean, even Nick Kurtz, who has been fantastic for the A's, 70.2% contact rate. So he's like about 2% better than Colson. So it's not saying that Colson can't make this sustainable. It's just like there needs to be, like, he's just not going to hit a homer. He's like going to hit 10 homers in every 18 games. So like he has to figure out some other way to be viable as a hitter, but the power is undeniable. And you should be thankful that the power is showing up, because it's super fun and cool, and chicks dig the long ball, and baseball's fun when the ball goes far. So we're going to take a break here on the CHGO Colson Montgomery podcast. We will talk more about the Sox versus the AL Central, and then we will talk about I think Luis Robert Jr. is what I had left. All right, we gotta let you know about our friends over at Bet365. If you are looking to wager with our friends over at Bet365, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Sign up and use our code CHGO365. When you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets, whether you win or lose. So you could deposit $10, bet $5 on the White Sox winning tomorrow, maybe Colson Montgomery hitting a home run. And whether Colson Montgomery does or doesn't hit a home run, you'll get $150 in bonus bets to bet on spreads, props, futures, whatever you want. If you want to, bet $10 bonus bet parlays or same game parlays, you can do that with our friends over at Bet365. And I was mentioning earlier, there was only 3 runs scored today. If there was a time where a team took a 5-run lead, which I think the White Sox did on Sunday, and you bet the White Sox money line, your bet automatically cashes out. Or if you had them in a same game parlay or a parlay with the money line selected, that selection will be marked as a winner. So a lot of ways to win with our friends over at Bet365. Download their app today. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Must be 21 plus. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling or referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, in app only. And we want to let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is Illinois' favorite dispensary. It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. They have expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from. So if you are an expert, you can just place your order online and walk in. If you're a newbie, you can ask for help from their kind and knowledgeable bud tenders. Sunnyside, again, is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city and the suburbs, so you won't miss out on Sunnyside's great products. Visit sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. For existing users, use promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Lab brand item. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, Shy Sox Anthony 27 saying Lou Bob slowly moving back into a slump. Got to get back on a small streak that leads to better continual streak. I know I'm asking for a lot. I think it's a lot different when you can kind of tell when he's having when he's bad, and when I think that he's just getting terrible results. You look at tonight, and he did have the hardest exit velocity at 114 exit velocity against Paddock. I think it was a line out. It was 114, 7-degree launch angle, and then it went 156 feet. So, I mean, it was like a really well-struck ball just right at somebody. I think that, again, we've looked at his swing decisions, and they've all been fairly positive. I think that he can snap out of this slump. I don't think that this is like the April slump that he was in. It seems like this is a slump that he could snap out of. I think also part of the reason that he had such a massive hot streak out of the All-Star break was because they faced a ton of lefties. I mean, that Pirates series, I think they faced a lefty in all 3 games. And that's a huge boost right there, where I think that there's been a slowdown on lefties. You look at the Seattle series, they had all righty starters in Wu, Gilbert, and Kirby. And then I'm looking at Detroit's schedule right now. But if you look at the White Sox, I mean, obviously they just faced Paddock tonight. And I don't think there was a lefty, unless they faced Cantillo of the Guardians. Yeah, they faced Cantillo against the Guardians, but I think that's the only other lefty that they faced. And I think, Robert went 0 for 4 in that game. So, I think it's partly him not facing as many lefties as he did post All-Star break. But I think that he could snap out of it. Hopefully he could snap out of it. But the thing is that the Sox are running into the people that know him best, or know them and Robert best in the AL Central. Right now, the Sox are 8-23 versus the AL Central with their 2-1 loss against the Tigers tonight. They are 2-8 against Cleveland, 2-6 now against Detroit, 2-5 against Kansas City, and 2-4 against Minnesota, which honestly isn't that bad, because last year they had only 1 win in 13 games against Minnesota, so they've already improved. They only had 1 win against Kansas City in 13 games, which they've already improved on. And then you look at Detroit, they just need 1 more win to tie their 3-10 record from last year. The only team that they did all right against was Cleveland, 5-8. They're 2-8 right now, so not as well as they did against Cleveland. But last year, if I'm correct, they went 10-42, which doesn't seem right. But 10-42 against the AL Central. So it got better, but it's not the similar jump that we've seen the White Sox take against the rest of the Major League Baseball. The jump against the rest of Major League Baseball has been a little bit more significant. I think the White Sox have been able to prove old scouting reports wrong. I think they've been able to damage starting pitchers that maybe are relying on old scouting reports, and it seems like they've been able to draw starters out longer. Against the AL Central, though, they've seen Paddock a ton, and Paddock really had no problem. And Paddock's, fastball changeup pitcher mostly. And Colson got a really fat changeup to hit, and outside of that, the Sox really didn't do much. I mean, Luis hit that line out, but again, it's a line out. It's right at somebody. So the one improvement, or the one thing that I would like to see for the White Sox to close out the season, is 5 wins too much to ask for against the rest of the AL Central? They have 2 against Detroit now, and then I think they go and play Kansas City next, and then there's 4 against New York. So there's a decent amount of division opponents now. It's 2 against Detroit, 3 against Kansas City, 3 against Atlanta. Then they have 6 against Minnesota and Kansas City, 3 against each, and then a break against New York, but then 4 against Minnesota, 3 against Detroit, a break against Tampa, then 3 more against Cleveland, and then that's going to round out the AL Central. But from now until September 14th, it's a ton against the AL Central, and this is where I think Will Venable kind of needs to prove his worth to at least put his guys in a better position to win. It's also in a really difficult position that he's in. Sox have not announced their starter for tomorrow. They're relying on Tyler Alexander to throw 5 innings for them. They had to save Mike Vassell tonight because he's going to be throwing tomorrow. It's not a great shape that they're in. They're waiting for Martin Perez to return. They're giving Shane Smith extra rest because he's obviously at a career high. Davis Martin's been iffy. Jonathan Cannon was just sent down to AAA. They're in desperate need of pitching at kind of the worst time where I think that they could really easily get abused against the AL Central with some pretty bad pitching. We have some people still hanging out in the chat. If you do have any thoughts, share with them in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribing. Shy Sox Anthony 27 saying still a work in progress against the AL Central. Next year will be better improvement, right? He also said they should steal a few of those against our rivals. Hopefully they'll be able to steal a few against the AL Central. It hasn't looked great, but next year's like really up in the air. Getz was pretty adamant that they'd be keeping Luis Robert Jr. To read the quote again, and this is from Sox Machine and James Fegan's work. We feel like he's a part of this team. We are excited about having Luis Robert Jr. in the White Sox organization. It's exciting to watch him go out there and play. He can really impact the game in so many different ways. When he's playing well, the team is seemingly playing well, and we are getting wins. And the most important part of this, he's a guy we like having in this organization, and we are planning on having him a part of the future. Now, the future, and especially the immediate future, is what does that team look like? Is it Miguel Vargas being your first baseman? Do you add a third baseman in free agency? Is it Miguel Vargas and Curtis Mead trying to figure out if they can play third base? And are you adding a first baseman? Are you adding starting pitching to kind of give Will Venable a little bit more of a safety net as a manager to be like, all right, well, every 5 days I'll have this guy. I mean, even Pedro Grifol in 2024 had Garrett Crochet every 5, at least up until July. Right now Venable doesn't have that. So I would like to see them spend, and I would like to see them be more aggressive than rolling out a $75 million payroll. But this is a group of people, Chris Getz, Jerry Reinsdorf, the entire organization, that need to prove that they're willing to spend like an actual Major League Baseball team. Because, even when they've been competitive, they've been teetering on how Major League Baseball teams actually spend. You could be like the Cubs and be right under the salary threshold. Like the Cubs are like 206, the threshold's at 207. The Sox, even in 2021, they were at like 175. And part of that was coming off of COVID. I think it was 175 in 2023 or whatever. But part of that was coming off COVID, but they really never even pushed towards that 200 million threshold. So I would like to see them go out and do it before Chris Getz is just putting quotes out saying, we're looking to spend. Mini Dar chiming in saying, if TLR and Pedro didn't close the Sox window, Colson would have been blocked by TA, who would have hit his 10th homer by the time Ishbia regime takes over. And then Minidar asks if Benintendi's contract is done. The fall off of TA is going to happen regardless of Tony and of Pedro. It just seems like, again, Tim is so small and it's so compact, and humans are very well fine-tuned machines, and if that machine's thrown off, you could see what happens, and I don't think the machine ever got right. But Benny is on this team next year in 2027. He's making 17.1 in 2026, 15.1 in 2027. And that's the real issue with Lenyn Sosa, in a way, is that Lenyn Sosa clearly his best position is DH. Because then you could have Mydroth at second, Colson at third, or Colson at short, I'm sorry. Mead or Vargas at third. When they're healthy, Vargas or Mead at first. And then obviously Caro and Teal at catcher. And then Benny at Sosa at DH. But Benny, because he's pretty iffy and pretty bad in left field, he's got to be their DH for the next 2 years because no one's going to take on that contract. So 2 more years of Andrew Benintendi. Ken jumping in, and this is probably where we're going to wrap up here, saying, does Elko have any future with the Sox? If not, they should give him a chance with another team. Like, I hear you, Ken. Part of them giving a chance with another team is like a team needing to want him. And this isn't like MLB The Show where you go to the trade machine, click Tim Elko's name, hit square for suggest a trade, and then you'll get a trade from every single team. Like, you could find first baseman with that type of power in AAA. There was a first baseman that I was interested in the race system, Bob Seymour, who had like 27 homers in AAA in Durham. And I was like, well, why don't the White Sox pick him up? He's unprotected in the Rule 5 draft. And I don't even think Bob Seymour's made his major league debut yet. Like, Tim Elko, as reported by Jared Willis, I think back when Elko was up, so like May or June, said that Elko's not even in their eternal top 30 for White Sox prospects. He's not thought of highly by this organization. And if he's not highly thought of by this organization, an organization that I think, you know, universally now that most of their guys like Teo Caro, Montgomery, Mydroth have graduated, their prospect system is no longer top 10. It's like 21st. And Tim Elko can't crack that list with like 8 guys that have graduated. So I don't think Elko has a future with the Sox. It's a really great story, and hopefully he gets a shot at some point like Matt Mervis did. Like, if I can make my call, I think that Tim Elko gets a shot with the Miami Marlins. Maybe not this year, obviously, as the trade deadline's over, but like maybe 2026. I could see Tim Elko ending up with the Marlins even for like 10 games. So I'll write that down. Maybe we'll make that prediction. That's going to wrap it for the CHGO Colson Montgomery post-game podcast. If you enjoyed, hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. If you're upset like White Mexi 99 and want me fired, also let me know. Comments are terrible. I'd hate if you wrote an iTunes review. We have like 50% of our podcast listeners are on iTunes, and we haven't had a review in about a month. So even if you want to say like Sean should be fired, just go review the podcast. You listened to 42 minutes of this. Give me a review. Why not? Appreciate it. I'm Sean Anderson, host of the CHGO White Sox podcast. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. This has been presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. We will be back on Wednesday to recap the series finale between the White Sox and the Tigers. We will see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.